Hello, Revere, and welcome to another Revere show. We have a beautiful young lady. Her name is Stacey Rizzo. She's been on the school committee for 8 years. Right, Stacey? Welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me, Morris.
It's an honor and a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to meet the very popular Morris.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's a pleasure to have you on here. Stacey, you've been on 8 years with the school committee.
Yes, I'm finishing up my 8th year.
Tell us a little about what it's been like from the day you first came in up to the present, what it's like.
It's been a great 8 years. The only part I don't like is the campaign part, but the work part is phenomenal. I had previously to being on the school committee, I worked at McKinley School for 18 years as a paraprofessional.
Wow.
One of my favorite jobs in the world. My mother used to say she was so jealous of me because I loved getting up on Monday morning, going to work. And then for some stupid reason, I gave that up, and no, it wasn't stupid. But I decided I wanted to pursue a little bit more for the children in the city and move on to the school committee. And I made sure I waited for all my sons to graduate because I didn't want them to have to be part of the political process. So I waited for them to graduate, and that's when I decided to run for school committee, and it's been a joy ever since.
Right. How was it like when you first started on the school committee? I mean, you know, is there a big difference from the day one that you came in now to the final of your 8th year?
Well, there is a difference because it seemed like the state gave us so much more money to work with. So we always had that money, but the last 4 years they have decided the way the money is going to be funded is much different. So we have been struggling budget-wise so that we don't have layoffs, we don't take away any core curriculum or anything away from the students and the faculty. We've had to have more innovative ways to keep the education going. So it's been harder the last 4 years, but I have to say Diane Kelly has been, superintendent of schools, has been really working hard with our speaker, DeLeo. And our school committee also has been working statewide to, you know, go to Beacon Hill, speak to the legislative branch, and working with other communities that perhaps are in the same issue, having the same issues as we do. So there is a difference, and the big difference is money-wise.
Right. Now, I was going to ask you, when I watch TV, sometimes the educational program, they say an average class is about 30 students, approximately.
In elementary, yes. As you go up, it's much smaller.
Oh, it is?
It is. It does get smaller.
Like, let's say high school. What's an average class in high school?
It depends on what classes they might take. It could be a popular class. It might be a class.
Oh, so you can have two different classes go to one class when they have certain subjects.
Right. Someone might take chemistry and someone might take biology. It averages about maybe 22. But also our ELL classes, our English learning, our immigrant classes, they're getting larger and larger. They're over 30, and that's really difficult.
I like to ask this question, which I always do. When I went to high school, we went as high on math, I think it was geometry or trigonometry. How high did they go in high school today with the math?
You know what? I'm going to be honest, and I don't remember seeing trigonometry on...
Geometry?
Well, geometry is there. Geometry, your algebra, that's all there. But I haven't seen trigonometry in years.
So that picks up in college?
I don't know. Maybe they just group it into something else now. Yeah. Math is not my forte.
No, but I remember like different types of geometry. There was like analytical geometry, descriptive geometry, plane and solid geometry. So there's a lot of geometries.
A lot. That's why I stay married, so that my husband takes care of my checkbook and I don't worry about the math.
Oh, okay. Here's something else I'd like to talk about, and that's your personal education. Could you tell us a little about that?
I was fortunate enough, I didn't get far. I grew up in Everett. I started in Revere. I grew up in Everett in front of the Woodlawn Cemetery. And now I reside in Revere on the side of Woodlawn Cemetery. So I don't know, my last step, I guess, is in Woodlawn Cemetery. But I went to Everett High and graduated in 1975.
Don't give that away.
Well, it is what it is. And I just saw about 160 of my classmates the other day. We get together once in a while at the Saugus Elks. And so there was 160 people there. So even though it might have been 1975, they still know how to have a good time. So, and my husband graduated Revere High 1975. So we have a lot of friends the same age, and that's how we kind of got together. After that, I went to school, Uville Nursing School. I was lucky enough, I had worked at the Woodlawn Manor growing up since I was 14. And they had a nurse's aid program, and at the end, whoever got the highest mark, they gave a
Citation or something?
a citation, and they enrolled you into a nursing program. And I was lucky to get it 1 year. My mother got it 4 years before me, and then I got it. So I had gone to Uville, and that was for LPN.
So you are a nurse?
I am going to be honest, I am not, because, and I tell this to students all the time, make sure you follow your dreams. I decided that I was having fun in life. So even though I finished my nursing school, I never went back and took my test.
Oh, I see.
So that is the biggest, the saddest thing I do regret, is not going back, because it's the one thing I always loved doing.
Because there's a real shortage of nurses. I
There
know I
is.
was in the
There is.
hospital and they need them.
Well, and you know, my role at McKinley School, I worked as a health technician. I couldn't work as a school nurse because I didn't have that degree, but yet I feel like I had the next best thing without the money. But you know what? I tell students all the time, make sure you finish it.
Right.
Do it all.
Exactly. Could you explain to the folks and to me too exactly what are the functions of the school committee? I mean, what is their main function?
You know, I'm going to say more as someone I had met and during the summer. School just got over, and they said, "Oh, you people must be so happy. You don't have to go to any more concerts. You got the whole summer off. You don't have to go to graduation." And I was like, "That's not our role. That is the best part of our role, because it reminds you why you're doing the job. But our role is we hire the superintendent. We evaluate her during the whole year. I mean, that's a monthly thing that we do, is evaluate
Every year?
her.
I mean, every month?
year. Every month we have a whole process. And this was all designed by the state to do. And I am proud of the fact that Dr. Kelly, along with Dr. Dakin, are the ones that helped make this evaluation process. So I feel like we're honoring them, using the process to evaluate them. So we do. It's a whole year process.
You know, I have to say this here. I mean, I'm from New York originally, but Revere has some of the best superintendents that I can think of. I remember when I first came in here, Carol Ty was the superintendent.
Right.
And then Dr. Dakin, I believe.
Yes.
And now Mrs. Kelly.
Miss Kelly,
Oh,
yes.
Miss Kelly, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No. No, and it's a pleasure to work with people like that. I mean, Dr. Dakin, he is so innovative. He thinks out of the box. And with Dr. Kelly, it carries on, but she brings some new ideas and a new perspective. And they're good ideas and good perspectives. And you know what? We've all been working hard. We just had, and part of our roles and responsibilities for school committee, I work with the state. I'm on the State School Committee Association, and it allows me to bring in programs for our school committee, for our superintendent, to make us more educated also. So we just had people come in, someone from the Mass Associations of Superintendents, someone from the Mass Association of School Committees, and we did a big retreat, superintendent, her office, and us, on the roles and responsibilities and how we can work better. Because the goal is we want what's best for the students. So we all have to be working together on it. And with this type of dialogue and these kind of workshops, it does help us be better at our positions.
That's pretty good. You
And
know,
s-
the kids that go to school, they should get a good education. But let's say I finished college and I apply for a job to be a teacher, let's say, does that go through the school committee too, my application?
No, we are only in charge of, we're in charge of hiring the superintendent,
That's,
the assistant superintendent who is qualified in special ed. We hire the school nurses, and we hire the business
administrators?
oh, can't even think of the word. The financial, the CFO.
Oh, the financial advisors.
Yes.
Okay.
I
But
can't even
not
think
the
of the
ti-
word,
but-
but I hire them.
Then who okays the teachers? Someone else?
That, you know what, with the state laws change, and it is basically the principals. They're allowed to say who is going to work in their school and who is not. Of course, they would always do it alongside with the superintendent. So it is basically the principal, and the superintendent would hire the principal. And if it's teachers or other people in the school, the principal would interview those people and make their recommendation to the superintendent.
I guess, right, today to become a teacher, from what I understand, I think the minimum you must have is a master's degree, if I'm wrong.
In Revere, in most places too, is you can finish your studies.
Right.
You have a couple of tests to take to be a teacher. And in Revere, you have up to 5 years to get your master's.
Oh, so in other words, once I get out with a bachelor's, I could teach.
Right.
But within 5 years, I have to
You
get
have to get, yes. And it's good because some of these students coming out of school, they have to pay off all those school loans. So now you want to go for your master's, and that's a hefty price to pay too. So at least it gives you a full-time job, and you can work a little towards your master's each year, and it doesn't cost such a hefty price.
I have to say something, or maybe that you might say to this. If you have a brilliant student, but he can't afford to pay for his education, can he still get that education?
There are so many loans out there, not loans, scholarships.
That's what
There's
they were-
so many scholarships out there. Different schools, whatever they may decide that they want to go into, it's there for anyone who really wants to. I do feel bad though. Some families, their parents don't know where to begin. So they can't push and aim their children into the right directions to get those. But this is what's amazing at the high school. We have teachers that really do take on as being another family person, and they push those students, and they help them get whatever information they need to be better. We want these kids we want to give them everything we possibly can, because we want them to come back into the city, work in the city, and just be really good citizens in the city.
Right.
Like you said, we don't have civics anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that. I spoke to a lot of
Yeah,
people.
you said that.
And I happened to meet one of your high school students from Revere High at Stop and Shop, and we were sitting and talking. I says, how far did you get in civics? And he looked at me and says, civics? I don't know what it is. And I told him when we were kids, I was studying about history, the laws, and everything else that had to do. Oh, he says, we don't study that at all.
No, and that's where I am grateful that we have so many of our educators are so civic-minded
Yep.
that they do instill a lot of that into our students. It might not be the way you and I had it in school, but it is there in a broader.
That's pretty good. That's
Yeah,
pretty good,
no, we are
Stacey.
lucky because you know what? As much as I appreciate the superintendent, it's those educators that make us look really good. So we're lucky and the students are lucky.
Well, I have to tell you this. I had Mr. Dr. Dakin on the show many years ago.
And he can talk.
He was brilliant, but he was also, he never mentioned it to me, but when I asked people later on, he was voted the #1 superintendent out of 50 head superintendents of the United States, and that's a high, high honor.
Right.
And if I was the president at the time, I would have put the Medal of Freedom on him. I hope he got
Oh,
it.
he would have liked that.
I would have done it.
No, you know, being on the Mass Association for School Committees, I attend workshops all over the state and stuff, and it is amazing how everyone will talk about Dr. Dakin, what a wonderful speaker he is. They like having him attend the workshops and speak at the workshops, and especially in our conferences in November.
Yep.
But they always speak the world of Dr. Dakin, so I kind of I gloat. Yep.
Okay.
we
Now, you
have
were
him.
lucky to have known him.
And I was lucky to have known him. You know, another thing that I'm really lucky to know when I go to these workshops is there's cities and states, I mean cities and towns in the city that are just amazed at what a big urban city we are, and the lack of funds and the immigrant population plus the low income population, but yet our students are at the top.
Right.
Cambridge and Somerville will always say to me, how do you do it? We're lucky. We have great educators. We have great superintendents.
We have a lot of immigrants in the city, Stacey.
We have many.
And the school does try to help them. So they do have special classes, like if an immigrant comes, let's say, from Asia or Africa or the Middle East and can't speak English like myself, they do have night classes for them to go to, or
Yes,
special
well,
classes.
in elementary, it's a little bit easier for those students to be put into a classroom because they're young. They learn so much more, so fast.
Right.
At the high school, we just started a program last year, and they did get an award for it, and it's the Newcomers
Tell us a
Award.
little about that.
It was a great class. This class has students that have come from all over the world, and it's their first year here. Part of that program, I have gone to one of our teachers, young girl, Asha. Her classroom is made up of, I'm going to say about 12 immigrants, and most of them don't speak any English.
So how do they communicate with each other?
I mean, patience and a teacher that can speak some different languages, a little. Other students that love going in to work with them. We had a gentleman last year, Gianni Hill. I don't know if you ever had the honor to meet this gentleman, but he's coming back into Revere after college, and he's going to do some big things. But he would work in these classrooms with these students, and they admired him so much because it's their peers.
And what is his function, Mr. Hills? What does he do?
He was only a student. He was a senior.
Oh,
So he would go in. He would go into the classroom and just help on a daily basis. He also would fight for any of their rights.
so he was a volunteer student then.
He was a volunteer student and did it with love.
Good.
But these students at the high school, they work hard. They work hard for everything. Some of the students in this program went on to Simmons, Mass College of Pharmacy, one went on to. And these are students that haven't even been here for 4 years. And they're going on to Mass College of Pharmacy. Amazing. Amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you a question, and this came over the computer. I have no idea what he's talking about, so I'll throw it at you.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Nope. He mentioned something. Ask your guest about social emotional learning. Do you know what he meant by
Yeah,
that?
it's one of those new buzzwords, but it's an important piece in this day and age where you want to be more courteous to people about their feelings and stuff. So social emotional, it tries to build relationships with other people. It teaches other people how to manage and express their opinions so that you're not insulting other people. I mean, we are very diverse in Revere.
Very diverse. That's
Very
right.
diverse, whether it's race, religion, special needs.
Nationalities,
Oh,
everything.
everything. So it's a way, and it's not just statewide, it's not Revere-wide, but it's countrywide, that everyone's trying to put the social emotional learning piece in. In our elementaries, perhaps like 2 mornings a week, the students will sit in what they call an open circle. So they form a circle, and they always leave one chair empty. and that's to recognize that anyone is invited to come and sit in that chair. And they'll talk about different things. I mean, it could be the immigration. I mean, I know when Trump got in, we had a lot of students that were confused. They might hear one thing at home and one thing outside. So it kind of gives the teachers an idea who they might be listening to during their day. It gives the students a chance to express their feelings. And it gives the other students a chance to see that there's other viewpoints, which is good because we all have different views and opinions. So the social emotional learning piece is, I use it as a buzzword, but it is important because we do need to be respectful of each other, and it's one way that our younger students can learn and maybe grow up to be adults that are more caring and considerate of each other.
Right. I have another question for you. This is a good one. Any future, I wrote it down what he says. I wish I could read my own handwriting. But anyway, he wants to know, what is the future outlook for the new high school?
The new high school. I was trying to win the lottery last month. I'm not one that plays it month, but I thought maybe if I won, I'd be building it and putting your name on the building.
No. You want it under the building.
Well, you know what? Dr. Kelly and Mayor Rizzo and the school committee, and hoping the council will jump on board. We need to start working hard to get viewpoints out there to the city. We need to show the city how important it is for this new high school.
Well, what has been done up to date? Has anything been done up to date?
We're going to have to wait till November.
The election?
Well, after the election. We apply for it with the SB acronyms. There's so many acronyms, I don't even know if I'm, the small business.
Right.
And that's through DESE. You apply for it, and then they look and they pick people that they'll put on the list to come out and see what you have to offer. We didn't make it the last time on the list, but that's because, I mean, there was one high school in Brockton, the whole ceiling caved in, so students at the high school level couldn't go to school there, so they had to go to school in different elementaries. So that might have been a little bit more important than what our needs are, although our needs are important. So we have to wait for the state to finish that, and that's usually at the end of November they come out.
Oh, I see.
And then it's trying to find property in land that would be feasible enough to build such a large-scale complex. Somerville just got theirs approved, and they also had it as a ballot question. And it was nice that the taxpayers in the city voted for it because they know how important it is to the education of the students in Somerville. And I'm hoping everything falls in place and our taxpayers will see what a wonderful job we do with our students, but we are at the seams. We need more space. Our students deserve it. I mean, and I have to say, the education in Revere is one of the biggest focal points for the city. It's a selling point in the city, and we have to keep on the right track.
I agree with you. Okay, now I'd like to break the whole thing up and talk about your family. Your family.
Oh, my poor family.
Oh, no. Tell us something about your family. If you have any veterans, I always like to say thank you to all the veterans who are in the family of the people I talk to.
Veterans, I mean, I have an uncle and cousin that they've been in the Air Force. My uncle just passed away last year, but his son is still in the Air Force at 58 and still going.
How long has he been in the Air Force?
Since 22. He loves
And he's 58?
He loves every minute of it.
36 years?
Wouldn't change a thing.
Wow.
Wouldn't change a thing.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
His name is Mark Gallagher.
Mr.
He's out
Mark?
in Nevada.
Mark Gallagher, wherever you are, let me say from the City of Revere, thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah, I mean,
What's his rank, can I ask you?
I'm sorry, I don't know. And I should know that.
That's okay. I figure if he's been in there that long, he's an officer
somewhere. Can I even
somewhere.
say my father was in the Army, and I can't even tell you what rank. I don't think he went up ranks.
Right.
I can't even tell you what rank he was. when he came out, he was he ended up on the Revere Police Department.
Was
My
he
father. He was
was-
in the Army, and when he came out, he went to the Revere Police Department.
Was he a Korean or World War II veteran?
Korean?
Korean?
Yeah. And you know, I had just attended the promotion for the Revere Police Department the other day at City Hall,
Yep,
and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, how proud can, you know, looking at these men and women, and one, for the first time, a captain is a female. And it was just a wonderful sight to see these men and women that want to serve our city and our community. But it's also grand for all the men and women that are serving in the armed forces.
That's great, and I got to say, I got to thank the Revere Police Department because they do a great job.
Yeah. You know, I listen to a country station, and I think of you once in a while because everyone talks about your, how much you love the veterans, the armed forces, how you embrace all of it. But there is a radio station, 102. It's a country station.
Yeah, 102.5.
Right. And at 12 o'clock every single day, they stop and they do the, I was
God
going to
bless
say the
America?
Pledge of, no.
The Pledge of Allegiance?
No, not the Pledge of Allegiance. Our, oh my gosh.
Who's the,
Star Spangled Banner.
oh, the National Anthem.
National Anthem. They stop at 12 o'clock every day, and one of the country people do it. So if I'm on Route 16 and wherever I am, I have to just pull over and just listen to the whole song. But there's been a few times I think of you, and I'm saying, I wonder when he's going to sing it on that radio station.
Stacey, I have to say, when you mentioned the stop to do the National Anthem, we're running out of time, so we have to stop the show here. And I want to say it was a pleasure and
Oh
an
my
honor to
gosh.
have you come on here.
I finally got to meet the important Morris Morris.
Oh, no. Can I say God bless you, Stacey?
Oh,
and
thank
let me
you.
wish you good luck on your run for office.
Well,
Like I like to wish everybody. And I would like to wish to the people of Revere out there, thank you for listening. To our military, thank you for serving. And our veterans, thank you for those who have served. But most of all, to our great country, the United States, God bless America.
oh, God bless.
Thank you.